Hi guys, and today I'm going to be talking in behalf of Sustainable Education Foundation, and I'm very thankful to the SEF for inviting me for this session on cybersecurity and skill shortage. And let me start by introducing myself and just a brief introduction. So. I'm actually, you know my name, so I'm Osanda Malith, Jayathissa, and I've been currently working as an IT security consultant, and I've been actually mostly dealing with computer security most of my life, and I have a blog where I always post my researches and stuff. And apart from that, actually, I'm more interested in penetration testing and reverse engineering kinds of things. And that's basically about myself. So I've been most of the time dealing with, basically penetration testing. And so when I'm talking about cybersecurity, I mean, it's an area which is where you need to learn so much of things. Like, it's not just one thing. So it's not like I mean, it's not something like being a software engineer or something. It's mostly you need to be an all-rounder when we talk about cybersecurity. So and also, if you guys have any questions related to computer security, just comment below. So I'm just talking about the basics of computer security, or I mean cybersecurity, and how you can become how you can enter this area, and also the skills shortage in Sri Lanka. That's specific to Sri Lanka because I'm a Sri Lankan, and that's just my personal views. So so when it comes to cybersecurity, my personal opinion is you need to be an all-rounder. So all-rounder means like you need to be very good at let's say if it is something on you need to be good in web applications, infrastructures, and let's say reverse engineering or anything. So it's like there's no one specific thing, but it depends. Now, for example, let's say if you are mostly dealing with networks, then you need to be very good in infrastructure. So it's something like that. And let me check. And so yeah, speaking about my story of becoming a cybersecurity guy would be since I was small, actually, since I was 12 years old, I was really into hacking websites. You know, it's there are forums. You all know about forums, and so that's how I started entering this area, by usually hacking websites since I was little. That was my initial start point. And okay, guys are commenting up. Yeah, you guys, if you have any questions, just comment below, and I'll try my best to answer given the time frame I have. And Just a sec. Yeah, so my story would be, I was really into web application security when I was little, and it's I mean, mostly I was starting my life with SQL injection, and okay, that's a question: how to be in top in any field related to computer science. How to be the top in any field related to computer science. How to be the top in any field. Actually, it's all hard work, you know. That question is kind of vague, but still. So if you want to be top in any kind of field, it's all hard work, self-studying, and you don't need to be dependent with anyone. That's the secret of becoming top. But actually, you know, you cannot define you are top, because even I don't think, you know, I have lots of things to learn. Can I ask you something? At what age you started reverse engineering, and what is the reason behind it? Okay, let me answer the other question real quick. Like, you in security, okay, when it comes to security, if you want to be the top, I mean, if you want to go to a good level, computer security is something which is not you can learn from universities or anywhere. Like, no one's going to teach you. There are no courses or anything. Like, I mean, there are courses, but you cannot reach that level. It's most of the time it's self-studying, and most of the things I've done in my life is it was purely self-studying, and I I mean, nobody taught me do this or do that, because I'm a guy who didn't even do my A levels or anything. So I mean, I even had to leave my degree. So I don't think like computer security is something you need to. There is no specific way you can learn it. I mean, it's most of the time I would say it's all-rounding area, but as a starting point, like I started with web applications, but someone else may start with something else. So it's all about your different people might start with different things, but I started with web applications and writing, I mean, reverse engineering, these kind of small things like solving crackings, and that's how I got interested in computer security. So just a sec, I'm checking the comments. Okay. Let me answer this question. Can I ask you something? At what age you start reverse engineering, and what is the reason behind it? Yeah, when it comes to reverse engineering, I actually started, means like when I was little, like I can't remember, like 15 or 16, I was in forums. Like those days there was no Facebook, I was not that much of a social media user, so I was mostly in forums, and people started posting these kinds of like most of the time I was doing web application challenges, and then I saw crackings, which was like I did not know how to do this stuff. But and also at that time there was a tutorial pack called there was like various tutorials on the internet about cracking applications and stuff using Oli debugger, and then I was really interested in learning reverse engineering, and like, you know, doing this cool stuff. And that's the initial start point. And also I was reading tutorials about developing exploits, and that really made me learn more about reverse engineering, because I realized, like, as you go deep down the path of exploit development, you need to be really good in reverse engineering. So that's one major reason I was really interested in reverse engineering. But reverse engineering means it's the base of the core is mostly the basics of computer science, like nowadays people don't know about these basics, like the basics of how the XOR works, or the rotate right or bit shifting bits, or how signed or unsigned binary numbers work. So these are the the core of computer science. But most of the time people say like, oh, it's reverse engineering is something hard, because since they never tried it, that's the problem. But it's the base. But most of the time people just ignore the base, and they say it's something complicated. But actually reverse engineering itself is a very complicated topic, because as you go down, as you go down, you realize, like, when you're learning about the Windows kernel and these things, you are lost, because there are no resources, no books, and the people, it's very hard to find people in the industry, so it's kind of hard. So and the reason behind I started learning reverse engineering it's because it's something really because that's something really important. Like, as a penetration tester, I don't want to spend my entire life with reverse engineering, but maybe at some point. But if you are a penetration tester, reverse engineering knowledge is something, it's more like a supplement. Like, imagine you face something new, or a binary to reverse, like maybe it's a new exploit and you don't know what to do with it. So in that case, I would say reverse engineering knowledge is really useful when it comes to penetration testing. Is like a supplement. Like, if you want to reverse something, or if you want to evade antivirus, you should know the basics of how to how to play around, how the antivirus detects signatures, how to encrypt in the text sections, or maybe getting the entire exe out and encoding it, encrypting it, and then writing a PE loader, and these kinds of things might be very important. So I would suggest, like, reverse engineering is really something very important as a penetration tester. But I don't want to do it full time, because if you're going to do this subject full time, you need to be really good with internals and lots of programming. So that's another area. And is the new threat hunting. Yeah. And Luke asked the question, is skill shortage in security industry a big problem in the UK market? Does companies end up hiring people that are not really skilled and then invest in their education? That's a big problem in the UK market. That's companies. Well, in the UK, it's kind of hard. It's really, when it comes in UK, I don't know. There are good people. Like, most of the time, it's not as expected when it comes to computer security. It's almost everywhere, because not just UK, even in other countries, people just they just talk. They just all they do is just talk about cybersecurity and penetration testing, but their knowledge is not very up to the expected standards. But about investing in their education, it really depends on the company budget. Like, if the company is really big, they can invest money. If not, it's not going to happen. So yeah, so when it comes to investing in education, it's actually the guy's luck, because I mean, good companies will not hire stupid people. That's the thing I know. But the interviews are hard, because it's not about, they don't check out your CV or anything. It's just they will give you an interview, and if you pass the interview, you will get the chance. If not, you won't get the chance. So it's somewhat something like that. So, and yeah, in the UK, I think most of the time people have no idea. I mean, it's like 50-50. Most of the time people, they just but at the same time, UK got really high standard certifications like CREST, which is really hard. And like, as far as I know, the last stage of CREST is only held by like 34 people in the United Kingdom. So it's like there are really hard certifications in here compared to other countries. But at the same time, when it comes to cybersecurity, the thing is, it depends. Like cybersecurity can be, when you say cybersecurity, things can be divided. Like I'm more into penetration testing, but there are other things also like GRC or threat hunting or auditing applications and working as internal guys and like auditing stuff. So these are also related to cybersecurity, um, but these are not really technical areas, like highly technical areas. So it's kind of hard to say. But as penetration testers, it's kind of, the skills are very short. Skills are very short when it comes to penetration testing because it's a very highly technical area, and most of the people don't have real world experience. So, and also when it comes to real world, it's not about hacking web applications or doing these kinds of small things. And so yeah, and also when it comes to when it comes to real world penetration testing, it's mostly about Active Directory and Windows Windows penetration testing. So that's the core of penetration testing most of the time when it comes to real world. It's not about CTFs or web apps. And moving on to the other questions. RE is the new threat hunting. Yes, I think when it comes to threat hunting, reverse engineering is important, but most of the time people call themselves as reverse engineers because since they work as threat hunters, but it's not true, because reverse engineering is something which is gone far ahead of that. And apart from that, and also certifications exist related to threat hunting which says reverse engineering, which is also not true. I mean, it's not very technical. What is the programming language you use often? I'm not a programmer, so I don't really program on a day-to-day basis, but as a penetration tester, you need to deal with, most of the time when you're dealing with simple tools, you need to deal with Python, or if you are dealing with something like evading antiviruses or something, you need to know about C, most of the time C or assembly when it comes to shell coding. And apart from that, in my free time, I'm mostly writing programs in assembly. In Microsoft Assembly. So that's just something as a hobby I do. And often as a pen tester, most of the time, almost everybody will be using Python, and I'm sure that's the language which most of the people use. And most of the tools are written in Python, so people use Python a lot. Also Ruby. So hi, I'm a student who is following IT in college. You said that cybersecurity is all about self-learning for me. Could you give me some suggestions from where to begin? Did some basic courses in college and wants to dig more into it. Okay. Okay. So okay, that question is kind of I don't know. I don't know how to give a direct answer, but it's like this. When it comes to cybersecurity, to begin, I would suggest like in my life when I was in school, I actually I did not really focus on my school education or anything. I was really into things I want to do because like I did not listen to anyone and I was really stubborn in my childhood. So um, in that case, I can't say just to follow my path. That's kind of unethical, but um, um, like that's the thing is it's kind of like there are good courses out there you can do, but if you want to like it's like this, you can do certifications courses and also enter the area. That's one method. But if you want to be really good in this in cybersecurity, you need to spend more time, like let's say start with web applications. That's the method I did. Maybe some other method will suit you. But in my situation, I started with SQL injection, and I was really, I mean, it's not just about basics of injecting. It's like I have done also researches where you can check in my blog, and I'll send my white paper links. Like so, um, that's one method, like how I started. Like I was mostly interested in injection, and then I started going deep down into evading web application firewalls, and then learning about PHP, and that's how I entered this area. So to begin cybersecurity, that question is kind of there's no direct answer. Some guy might begin with networking, some guy might begin with mobile hacking, maybe some guy with web applications. So it's all about spending time. And when it comes to hacking, it's not just about learning one thing. You need to be an all-rounder. You need to learn many things as possible. Like you cannot say if you just know about web application security, you are good with web app testing, but it's not about being a hacker. You need to at least know about other stuff too. So um, yeah, so and also in another thing in Sri Lanka is like most of the time people like when I'm in for example the Sri Lankan culture is also it's something like um, when you're doing your O levels or A levels, it's like you need to do this. And I mean people don't do programming, they just expect the lecturer in the university to teach them programming, and in their first years they start to learn programming, and in universities it's like they teach Java for 1 year, which means you can learn it in 1 month on over the internet. So because of these things, it's just people even start to hear the cybersecurity word when they go to universities. And that's how, in most of the time I stay in Sri Lanka, it's so rare to see people who enter this area before going to their universities. Like there are people, like when I was young, there were lots of people who were like 15, 16 and who were really into cybersecurity. But in Sri Lanka, it's most of the time the student must enter the university to explore about IoT or cybersecurity or something, and then they start, showing off. Okay, we are cybersecurity guys, but that's not the really way. If you want to do something correctly, you need to do it in a proper way. And when it comes to courses, there are lots of courses in like there's a website called cyberray.com and udemy.com, and also the YouTube has lots of videos, and if you just Google something, there are lots of videos, there are tutorials. I mean, it's just a matter of practicing. I cannot say there are no resources. Like when it comes to topics like exploit development, reverse engineering, and Windows internals, it's true that there are no resources. But when it comes to other stuff, when it comes to penetration testing, web application stuff, there are lots of resources out there, and there's no excuse you can say there's nothing out there. Everything is on the internet, and you can start maybe you can have some goals. Maybe I start from web apps, then move to C, then maybe start from Python, then go to C, then go to assembly, something like that. You can have like a goal, and maybe a timetable or something, but everything is already out there. There's nothing which is not on the internet. For example, I learned everything from the internet. Nobody taught me anything, especially like I don't have anyone to say thanks. Like I don't have any teachers or lecturers who taught me anything. So it was all self-studying, even Java or anything. You don't need to go to a university to learn Java. That's my point, because that's such a high-level language which is very easy to learn. So when it comes to other stuff like assembly and there are more hard stuff out there. So that's what I believe in. So going on to the other questions. What kind of cyber courses that you prefer? I actually haven't done cyber courses, but I think they got really good for beginners. It's a good chance, like good opportunity. It's a free website, I guess. I hope it's still free. It has really good courses on web application security and penetration testing, and I think a basic course on reverse engineering and malware as well. Yeah, that's yeah, I haven't really done cyber courses, but there are good courses out in cyber, and also I think Udemy also has good courses on cyber. I mean, penetration testing in general, but basics. CREST is only valid for European countries. Or is it global recognition? Okay. CREST is it was started in UK, and actually it's recognized in UK, Australia, Singapore, and it says USA, but in USA, in my experience, I know it's mostly SANS, and Quest is not really cared. But if you're working in UK, Quest is something very important. Other than that, nobody really cares about it. But the exams, those exams are really hard because there's no material to study, and they also format your laptop, not like other training material. I mean, other training companies like Science, they give lots of material, but in Crest, it's all self-studying because they have only the syllabus. There's nothing else. And so you are saying that we should start early to be good in cybersec, but I don't say like that, because you never know. It's just that's how I started. That's why I say, if you want to achieve something, there's no one specific way. There can be more than million ways. But anything, not just cybersecurity. If you want to be a musician, or if you want to build your body, you should start early. It's something better, right? So it's just I mean, yeah, you should start better. Yes, you have more time to spend, but I don't think you are never too late. That's something I believe in. Like people start cybersecurity at the age of 30, but the thing is, you need to have a good background. I mean, people start cybersecurity at 30, but all the rest of their 10 years or 20 years they spent as a network admin or a programmer, so they have good experience in the field of IT. So it's easy to enter cybersecurity because of the experience. But if you just start, let's say, but in my opinion, something like this, cybersecurity is something which we do at the last stage. Imagine you are developing a software, and security is something you do at last. But if you don't know how to program, you don't know about security. Like let's say if there's a house and you want to break into the house, but if you don't know the blueprint of the house, how can you break in? So if you do a cybersecurity degree at the start, you don't know. It's like you are missing lots of stuff. In my opinion, I would say before doing cybersecurity, you need to know the basics, like let's say computer science, how algorithms work, how compilers work, and these basics. But without these basics, if you start learning security, it's kind of messed up. So that's the problem nowadays, where you see people start doing they do security. Thinking they learn security, they do this big stuff, but they are missing the basics. So that's why they get stuck most of the time when it comes to complex situations, and because they are lacking in the basics. So in my opinion, for example, if you want to understand code reviews or exploit things, you need to learn about C programming. Without being a programmer, how can you start reverse engineering? I mean, I would not say you need to be expert programmer, but I mean, when it comes to, it's not about developing business applications as what people do most of the time when you go to a campus, developing these stuff. But that's not it. You need to learn about how the compiler works and how compiler compiles the high-level code to low-level, and these kinds of basic things, which is very important to enter cybersecurity. So when you don't have these basics, and if you just start entering cybersecurity, that's the place things go wrong. And so yes, there's another question. I started in web app pen test, but currently working as a software development industry. To say this software, now can help. Yeah, definitely the software skills will be very important, but also it depends. For example, if you are doing software related developing PHP, that will really help you in code analysis or maybe finding 0 days or vulnerabilities. So whatever you do, I mean, spend time as a developer will definitely help you to find bugs in other people's code, because you know what to do, you know how other people write code, you know how they, imagine they want to write a secret function, or let's say a function for registration or a function for serialization, you know where it is because you also think like a programmer, so it's more easier. So that's my point of view. So the more the time you spend in developing will help you to learn about the other side, because it's all experience in the end. And yeah, that would definitely help you to switch to penetration testing. I mean, penetration testing means in the specific software you do, I mean the language you do. Okay, what's the other question? What are the challenges you face as a beginner and how did you overcome them? Okay, as a beginner, when I was I started this stuff back in Sri Lanka, and the challenges was really, I had to face a lots of challenges, like as a beginner means like most of the time the hacking community is not that much friendly. It's very hard to find people to help you out, or when you get stuck, it's kind of most of the time we had forums, but back in the time technology was not really uh, like today. No, it was not really easy. Like the meta, even I started when I was having backtrack, and so yeah, and also back in my country, I had to face lots of hardships, like because when I told my teachers and my lecturers, like I'm very interested in computer security and hacking. I mean, this hacking stuff, reverse engineering, and they told me there are no jobs in computer security. It's just something which is not important, and I was always rejected, and also my researchers were all um, uh, rejected from my university, saying they were unethical. So as a Sri Lankan in doing this stuff, it was really hard because I had no guidance or anyone to tell what to do or what not to do. It was all about experimenting and trying things on my own, and yeah, it was seriously hard. Hard means no guidance, and also when it comes to, for example, one thing I remember was like I was very interested in computer assembly, and I told my lecturer, I like this language and it's really cool, we can do lots of stuff, and he told, you can't develop software with it because it's obvious there's this thing called knowledge gap. People don't understand the importance of certain things because of this knowledge gap. That's because people haven't explored things yet, because they think, for example, a network engineer thinks what he knows is the only thing. And also software engineer thinks, okay, Java or C.NET is the entire world that makes money, and that's that's one thing I've seen most of the time. So people don't know the other things, and other technologies or other things you can do, and how things work behind the scenes, and these kinds of things are missing. So yeah, and that's one thing. I mean, that's the hardest thing I faced. And also I for some personal reasons I had to quit my degree, and then it was kind of really hard experience I had to go through, because I did not have A-levels or my or degree, so it was really hard to find a job or anything. But it was, I did not give up. I was mostly into researching, finding new things, and exploring stuff. I did not give up. So in the end, I had good opportunities coming up for the things I've done, and also for the bugs I found. I have more than 20 CV IDs now, and I can be happy for the things I've been doing all this time. And also recently I got some good donations from people too for my researchers, and I'm really thankful for you guys. And yeah, it's just I was just following my passion. And in any area, if you follow your passion, I think like you can succeed. You won't fail. You just need to keep following your passion and never give up on what you like. And when you go forward, I mean, when you go deep down, you realize there are lots of things to learn. There's no end. And that's something which I realized as I'm going further. So there's another question. Hello, brother. Could you please share with shared knowledge about future warfare in Sri Lanka? Because in my knowledge, Sri Lanka has lots of cyber threats, but they don't know and they don't care about it. Oh yes, speaking about Sri Lanka, like you should just use. I mean, there are lots of vulnerabilities in Sri Lanka. Like I mean, because the reason is the code which is written is very poor, and maybe university students and these kinds of people who has no idea about security develop these codes and these projects, and that's one thing. And also the knowledge gap, as I said earlier, is one reason, because of these things. Most of the Sri Lankan servers and these things are open, and you can hack externally the internal infrastructure, and it's not something really hard, because even there are bots out there who scanning networks, and there are public databases such as Showdown where you can query these kinds of information. So I also seen these defacements going in Sri Lanka, and that's let's say defacements are totally fine, because it's just to get fame and just to show that you are a hacker. But the defacements not is I would suggest it's totally okay, but the serious issue is hacking the internal infrastructure from the external point of view, which is more serious, like getting domain administrator in their organization, and dumping everything, and also that's serious damage. So these things can be happening. These things are happening right now because of poor security infrastructure, and people. There are no people who are really knowledgeable and how to configure these things properly. And also it's not just about configuring, it's about also penetration testing. So these things should be pen tested, and also at the same time, what I believe is I mean, in a country like Sri Lanka, I don't think there's a big budget for security. Only certain companies only will allocate budget. So this also creates problems. Like not all the companies can be pen tested. So because let's say if you are a network administrator and what you will if your network doesn't get pen tested, you will think your network is secure and no one can break it. But it's useless of you doing the pen test because you know how the network looks and you know what are the IP addresses, but it should be done in a black box way, like without turning any antiviruses or anything. It should be done in a complete black box way and see how far you can go. Not you means you should hire a pen tester, and then you must realize the weaknesses and then start fixing them. But also I've seen this mistake is most of the time penetration testers, they just write the report just with the proof of concepts and they don't really care about the solutions. So it's not just about showing off you know how to you know um, pen test. It's your as a pen tester, your goal is to give solutions. If you don't provide solutions, um, it's useless. So that's my opinion about these things. But in and yeah, most of the time in Sri Lanka, these cyber threats are not cared. And also, I've seen it's like people report cross-site scripting excesses, and people pay more attention to these. But these are not the really stuff we should be fixing right now because have you ever seen someone getting hacked with cross-site scripting? It's kind of so rare. So yeah, that's one thing. And, yeah, that's a good question. Mm, uh, how do you think cybersecurity would evolve in the future with the developments in AI? Well, with artificial intelligence, um, that's um, well, regarding AI, uh, people might be, I mean, things might be, you know, uh, for example, if you take um, robotics and things like this, or if I talk about IoT, these things developed, I mean, these programs and these firmwares developed is not really something secure from my experience because most of these things have lots of issues and well, and it like I don't think it would be a good idea to um, I mean, AI is good, but there is also a dark side. Like the worst side would be bugs and vulnerabilities. So unless something is not properly tested, I don't think any technology is really good for the public. Like when it comes to hardware, these things always happen. Like you develop something new, and because of a bug or something, I mean, because of a serious issue, things just go messed up, and that's something you need to be. I mean, people should be careful, but I don't know. It's just companies, they just push things forward since they want to develop things, but at the same time, there is also the other side of it. So, but I don't believe that security is a subject that can be automated using anything. You need a human being to test these things. You cannot automate like scanners. They all are just a big failure. So there's another question. Um, Hello to the knowledge. Do you think state unique curriculum related to IET should be updated in Sri Lanka? Yeah, definitely. I haven't really done any kind of. I mean, I don't know about the government syllabus or anything, but definitely things should be updated. But updating doesn't mean removing things. For example, the university I went, they removed the module called C and C double plus because students were complaining it's very hard. Updating means teaching new technologies, but at the same time, you should know the basics. Without, I mean, imagine you get a computer science degree without knowing C is kind of awkward because everything is written in C. Your operating system, Linux or whatever, wherever you go, everything embedded systems. So things should be updated, but you should also keep the old things too, because that's where the core lies, the metal of computing lies. So it's kind of, you should do things in a way where, I mean, still something, let's call it backward compatibility, something like that. So yeah, syllabuses should be definitely changed. For example, we were learning JSP in university, which is, I don't think, something important to learn. There are, I mean, nowadays, most of the time when it comes to corporate, we learn, people, most of the applications are in C#, web apps, and ASP.NET. So, and also PHP, which is very famous. So I don't think learning JSP is something important. But there are big websites in JSP. But I mean, when it comes to the majority and the other things, I think, yeah, things should be, yeah, the syllabus should be definitely updated. That's what I think. But I don't know how it will happen or anything because I haven't really read the syllabuses. What do you think about Bitcoin security? Bitcoins are secure, but there are lots of malware for like I recently seen these kinds of JavaScript based miners. Like when people hack websites, they just inject these miners so they can start mining Bitcoins out of your computer. And there are lots of malware related to Bitcoins. And yeah, Bitcoin security. I mean, the security about Bitcoin, I don't think there are kinds of with issues with the algorithms or anything. But when it comes to other things like stealing Bitcoins and mining Bitcoins, yes, there are lots of issues like people hack websites and inject miners, and people write malware to mine their own Bitcoin. And people can mine Bitcoin by the traffic. So unlike those days when people sites hack websites, they quickly inject their miner. So these kinds of I really haven't used Bitcoin like personally, but the Bitcoins should be anonymous as it says. I haven't really explored about Bitcoins. So are there any more questions or anything, or? Did I miss any questions? As you think, what are the reasons for current skill shortage in Sri Lanka? In my opinion, I would say that the current shortage for skills would be, let's say, about the blockchain question. Not gonna answer that because I'm not dealing with cloud or blockchain at the moment. Side courses. Okay. So yeah, about the skills shortage in Sri Lanka, in my opinion, would be the reason would be let's say it like, let's think. Yes. The thing, in my opinion, the problem for the skills shortage would be, of the Sri Lankan education system. That's one thing which I really think, because when you go to school, or when you go to school, you are given a syllabus, you are given exams, and people just do the exams just to pass. They don't want to they don't have a passion, like they don't want to move forward in the field. They just need to pass the exam just because their parents want it. And when it comes to degree, people do the degree because majority of them do the degree because of their parents, nothing else. So, and when it comes to cybersecurity, it's not something which you can learn from a university. As I told earlier, it's something you need to pay attention and self-study. So in that situation, definitely Sri Lankan people are lacking in that thing. In that specific area, because let's say, if you when it comes when a Sri Lankan guy is, imagine if he's working in cybersecurity, if he faces something new, he will say, my sir didn't teach me, or like my teacher didn't teach me, or I haven't learned this before, this was not in my syllabus, and these kinds of excuses Sri Lankan people give. So because of these things, that's the major reason the skills, because the skills are short in Sri Lanka when it comes to cybersecurity. People don't spend too much time and attention on it. So people expect things from other people. So, and also the other major reason would be the knowledge gap, and because people do what they are supposed to do in the university. Apart from that, they don't do anything else. They think that's the biggest thing in their life. Like if in the syllabus it says Java, they learn Java. They don't try to learn Delphi or to IT or assembly or anything. They just learn what is in the syllabus, because they want the degree in the end. I was going to risk a degree like me. So in that situation, people will do what they want to do. That's one reason the skills are short, and the people aren't really, they because sometimes people do certifications like CEH, and then they think they're hackers. It's a certified ethical hacker, and they think they can get jobs. but that doesn't mean you are good in cybersecurity. So these kinds of problems will lead to skill shortage in Sri Lanka, and there are lots of other factors too. Because yeah, that's CEH and these kinds of things also will ruin one because some people think they know hacking, and then they start to enter the area, they enter the field, and then they screw up. And that's, I think those are the reasons for skill shortage, and there are more other factors as well. And it's all about passion, it's all about spending time, it's all about your motivation. If you don't want to be something, people don't spend time. Let's look at the other questions. Rural side courses for cybersecurity are good. Yeah, I think it's good. I also have a few courses, but yeah, a little bit. There are good courses too. I mean, any vendor is good when it comes to courses. I don't say something is bad, but it depends on the amount of money. Some people, some courses they charge lots of money, some don't, and also the recognition, like when it comes to certain certifications, like I said, CEH, but it's just useless. So people think they're hackers, things like that. So any good online training for cybersecurity? I don't think there are training courses just focusing on cybersecurity, because cybersecurity has lots of other areas like penetration testing, network security, malware analysis, and stuff. So there are lots of courses for different specific areas. Masters in Sri Lanka or abroad, I don't know about masters, because I would not recommend the masters at all. I don't know, because masters in cybersecurity is just it's useless. I don't think there's something good to learn. I mean, even in here, I've seen the syllabuses, but most of the time people expect to be hackers by doing a master's, but they learn something else, like basics of using OLI debugger, or what is the IT policies, and what is this and that, just theory, and maybe some mathematics with crypto, But what's the purpose of learning cryptography if you don't know practical hacking? That's the thing, that's the thing in academics. You don't learn what you need, you learn something else. So I don't know. Masters in Sri Lanka, definitely no. But master in abroad, you might want to consider that if it is good. But yeah, that's my opinion. In Sri Lanka, nothing is good when it comes to education. No. This one is based on the beginners. How can they find out the security guys, security lectures, security speakers? Lots of fake in cybersecurity institution lecturers in Sri Lanka. How they select their guiders? Um, yeah, lots of fake cybersecurity lecturers, and these things are there in Sri Lanka, and it's something true. But what to do? I mean, it's all about marketing and how they select their guiders. I mean, um, let me see that question again. So it's about yeah, definitely. When it comes to so selecting a good lecturer would be selecting a good institute would be some kind of hard. So in my opinion, I really don't know how to select in Sri Lanka. It's first of all, in Sri Lanka, when it comes to cybersecurity, I don't think there is a good institute that I can recommend. And also, don't go after institutes when it comes to cybersecurity, because you can do online certifications, and there are lots of stuff online. And also, yes, when it comes to Sri Lanka, there are fake people. Like there's a famous guy in Sri Lanka who says that he has hacked FBI, NSA, and these kinds of things. Just don't get caught to such people and such institutes. Just be careful when you're dealing in Sri Lanka, because people can be tricked easily, saying this, setting these kinds of cybersecurity stuff. Just tricking people. So in my opinion, that's the problem with Sri Lankan people. They always want some kind of a sir, or like a lecturer, or some kind of institute to learn something. That's the worst thing. That's the worst mindset of you people. I never had this mindset that somebody should teach me, or I should go somewhere to learn this. It's all in your mind, because everything can be learned online, and you can do online certifications and be good at what you are doing, and also practice. You can have your own lab, or take some websites, or I don't know, but I don't recommend to hack in real life. But I mean, that's kind of tricky to say in public, but that's how I learned. So always, in my opinion, just always don't consider going to institute, because you can learn anything. You can self-study, and all these certifications online like OSCP and these things are recognized internationally. If you have these certifications, you are recognized. No one can say anything. So in my opinion, self-studying is the best option when it comes to cybersecurity, because you cannot learn this topic from an institute. No way. Because most of the time, if he's a software engineer, he will spend his entire time in Java or .NET. He will not spend time in other things. So being a cybersecurity guy, being a penetration tester is something really hard. It's lots of time, and I don't think an institute can provide such education. Going to the other questions. Cybersecurity is a wide field, so should students try to be a generalist or specialist? Well, yeah. Being a penetration tester is more like being a generalist. It's like, yeah, it's a specialized area, but speaking about more technically, it's more about having a general idea of systems, about testing them. But I would say to specialize in one area. In the end, you cannot do everything. So, and I would say to specialize in, let's say, I like to be specialized in reverse engineering, only in Windows. So, but still, I like to do everything. Like I like to do a bit of mobile, web, and infrastructure at the moment. But that's more of general idea in penetration testing. But I'd like to be more specialized in Windows and Windows reverse engineering. That's something I want to be in the future. But I would suggest to start as a penetration tester. That's more generalized, and then become a specialist, because you cannot at once be specialized in an area like reverse engineering, because it takes time, takes lots of effort. That's my point of view on that. Or you hope to come Sri Lanka? Yeah, probably I'll come before my vacations. What do you think about future of hacking? The future of hacking would be, in my opinion, web application security will be dead. I don't think in the future this cross-site scripting, SQL injections will exist, and these bug bounties and all this crap will go down, because Nowadays people report these kinds of most of the time, these web bugs in the future will be only logical. I don't think the OS top 10 will be will exist, because most of the time people use frameworks for developing web applications, and the major bugs will be all gone. So that's apart from that, the future, Windows hacking will be always there, because when you go to a network, it's always Windows servers, Windows networks, and Windows red teaming will be always something always there. And also it will be really hard for the hackers, because it's mostly like a cat and mouse game when it comes to evading antiviruses. But still, we always find a way to bypass antiviruses. So Windows hacking will always there forever. Web applications will die for sure. And Windows exploitation will be really hard in the future. And IoT hacking will be really awesome in the future, because people are moving into IoT. Wherever you go, you feel IoT, and people are talking about IoT, but they even don't know what IoT means. But people start implementing stuff, but the security of IoT is really low, because they are just developing campus kids. University kids do this stuff. Most of the university people develop this stuff. They don't think about security or anything. So you can reverse engineer this firmware, so decompile, or hack signal, radio hacking, and there are lots of stuff in IoT which can be exploited. And if these electronic gadgets start collecting data with the sensors about human body and these things, and if these things get breached to hackers, like there's now also you can hack cars, and if these things really go messed up, it's going to be a big problem, I'm sure. So let's look at the how different of an experience, okay, how different the experience it was for you working for a company and independently. Working independently was really good. I really enjoyed it, because I had lots of free time to do research, read my books, learn new things. But when you are working, you don't have time for anything. It's kind of hard. It's really hard. You only concentrate on the projects. But at the same time, I became good in infrastructure hacking, penetration testing Windows servers, and this sort of serious stuff. I became good with it, and it's good. I spent like 5-6 years independently, and then I started working. So it is good, because you need to also have work experience in your life. So actually, when I came here, I started to learn really how penetration testing works, like how the business works, and about serious hacking. And also experience wise, it was really good. So in my opinion, I like to work mostly from home, because you will have more time to do your own researches and stuff at the same time working on projects. So it's kind of a mixture. Because when you're at home, also you get sometimes bored. Yeah, so both experience are good and bad. They have pros and cons. So Can you tell some words about Sri Lanka national security based on cybersecurity, military, and government? Um, I really don't know about the national security, about military and the government, because as far as I've known and heard, I really don't know to give a comment on that question, because I haven't really dealt with military or the government of Sri Lanka. So um, yeah, for that question, I really don't know how to give a proper answer. Apart from that, are there any other questions? So guys, are there any more other questions, or Sri Lanka cybersecurity, computer science bad, cybersecurity or computer science bad, or both? Um, about computer science, I think it's something good. I've been I don't know how to comment about. I mean, computer science syllabuses should be already good. I don't see anything bad. It's just about um, it's like this, guys. Like, not all the people can be hackers. That's one thing. Not all people can think out of the box. It's just some guys can think out of the box, but some can't think out of the box. So, and cybersecurity is not something which I don't expect to teach it from the university, because it's not an academic subject. That's the first thing. Don't expect to learn cybersecurity from a university. It's not happening anywhere in the world. Nobody's going to teach you. You will learn stuff in a simulated environment, but you can't be a hacker. Trust me. Don't expect the university to teach you about cybersecurity. It will never happen. It's something you can learn things like theoretical computer science and how compilers work, how programming languages work, how to code, how to, I mean, how the algorithms work. These are stuff you can expect from the university. You cannot expect to learn hacking from the university. You need to change your mindset. That's the first thing. Universities are not there to teach you tactical stuff. It's mostly about theoretical stuff. And even even you start to learn cybersecurity, you will be learning about let's say cryptography. It will be mostly theoretical, like it used to be only mathematics. So you won't learn something practical. Um, it's a service-based company better, like the ones which do YPT or for clients, or product-based company like Amazon? So when it comes to VAPT means, you mean vulnerability assessments? So can you please elaborate that question? I don't really get that question. Is service-based company better for the ones which do VAPT for clients, or product-based company? Also no Google. Uh, okay, that now the question is much better. Is it better work as a security analyst in a service or a product-based company? I mean, it depends. If you work as a security analyst, it's mostly about analyzing, I suppose, about threat hunting and these kinds of things. Well, it's good if you want to follow that stream. Definitely, it's good. But that's not penetration testing. The penetration testing is something different. But for a product-based company, if you work for a product-based company, you'll be mostly testing the product itself. Um, so, yeah, I think it would be totally. I mean, it's good. It's all your choice. It's totally fine. And what's the best anonymity method, do you think? I think ProtonMail has a good VPN. That VPN would be something I would say that's very good. And also you can use the Tor network and route all the traffic through the Tor nodes, and that's also another secure way. Is Sri Lanka cert good? Does it have international recognition? As a cert, I think it's registered as a cert. You can see in the website. But by international, yes, it do have international recognition as a cert. But as a Sri Lankan concern, if it is good, I really don't know how to comment on that because I haven't dealt with the cert. But people say different things. People have different opinions, but I really don't know how to give opinion on that. So there's another question saying, as you think, what are the traits of a good security person? I would say you should be always updated. That's the most important thing being a security guy. You need to be really updated, be updated with the current technologies, with the latest things, and you should always be prepared for any challenge which comes. And Yeah, apart from that, you need to be really motivated to learn new things, explore things, and also, uh, I mean, never give up in a challenge, and also do lots of challenges as much as possible, and to learn new things. Those are the traits that I can say as a good security person. Um, the Metasploit experience would be, um, really, I mean, I started using Metasploit since it was in Backtrack, and Metasploit is really good when it comes to, I mean, it's like a collection of exploits written in Ruby, where all the exploits supported, and it's something which is good. I mean, um, I don't like the Metasploit console version. Now there's Cobalt Strike, which is more powerful than the Metasploit. So being red teaming, we use Cobalt Strike, which is more organized, and it's really not messed up. If you are using Metasploit to open lots of consoles, I mean lots of terminals, and your project will be a bit messed up. What do you think about sites like Help the Box, RootMe? Those sites are good to learn stuff. Or definitely, you should spend some more time in practical stuff like Root, Hack the Box, and RootMe. And I think I got banned from RootMe for publishing solutions. But you can have a look in my blog. I have published your solutions in reversing section in RootMe, and Hack the Box. I once got the first place, and I really did not have time to do it after that. But still, it's good. It's a good playground to practice your skills. Actually, those are the stuff you should really focus on. Uh, for a future security person, my advice would be to constantly keep doing CTFs and self-study, and also, you need to be really motivated to, to learn new things, and never give up on things you have to face, and and keep doing more certifications. That's something very important for the industry, but certifications are not everything. Keep that in mind too. And it's mostly about practicing. That's my only advice. You need to keep practicing more and more. Otherwise, no matter how much certifications you're doing, and also you need to do things in real world, not about not do things in labs. You need to practice things in real world, maybe make some labs, and practice things. Otherwise, it's really hard in cybersecurity. I mean, if you want to become a good penetration tester, but at the same time, when you're speaking about cybersecurity, there are other fields like such as I tell earlier, like GRC and other kinds of things. But it's all up to you. You can select what you like. I mean, there are the areas like auditing and these things, which is not, I don't think, believe is something very hard. But if you want to learn really hard stuff like finding vulnerabilities, exploits, and these things, you need to really focus more time. And also, then there's hardware hacking and these kinds of things, which is really interesting. So that's my advice, for the future, if you want to become a future cybersecurity person. And so, guys, it's been like an hour. So, are there any more questions? Or I think I told the conclusion too about being a cybersecurity guy in the future. And are there any technical questions or anything to be asked, or anything in particular to answer? Um, in my opinion, it depends. for example, penetration tester can go to a salary for like 100K pounds or maybe 120 or $200,000. It depends on the consultancy, but if you are CTO or someone, you can even go more. But when it comes to other things, you can start your own startup, or I don't know, but definitely cybersecurity has some more income than just being a software developer, because being a software developer is lots of, I don't know, I don't really like to go to office every day and do not the same language. It just gives me headaches. I just want to do something new, learn new things. But definitely cybersecurity people earn a lot compared to software developers. It depends on the country too. So when it comes to salaries, I cannot give a direct answer, but as far as I know, it's like that. So okay, guys, it's been like 1 hour and more than 1 hour. So I think I'm going to conclude the session, and I think that's all the questions, right? There are no more questions, I suppose. If there's any questions in the last minute, I can answer. If there's anything in particular, anything. What about data science? Data science can be applied when it comes to, I mean, for example, in Wi-Fi hacking, if you have big data, data science can be applied, but it's not something really, I wouldn't say it's something really important in, I mean, penetration testing or anything. But data science is a good topic in analyzing things, but yeah, anything can be branched. But as a penetration tester, I don't deal with data science at all. Right, you are welcome. All right, guys, I think I'm going to conclude the session, and thank you very much for the Sustainable Education Foundation for giving me the session and for inviting me for the session, and really thank you guys. And you can always check my blog and my other researches on my website and the other stuff. Yeah, you can learn most of the things I did and how the way of thinking, and anything in this world is possible. Like, you don't need to always go after a degree, or you need to go to institute. You need to change that mindset. And because I never followed anything in my life, I just did self-studying, and I did certifications and stuff, but I didn't even do certifications to get a job. But even before that, I got lots of opportunities because of research, like finding new things, cool stuff. And another final thing I would like to say is, when it comes to blogging, like most of the Sri Lankan people, they start copying blogs and writing things which is already blogged. And I don't think that's something really is really necessary to do. And it won't add the value unless you find something new. So you always need to post something really new. Otherwise, it's not something, you can't call it research if it's not new. So in my opinion, I would say you need to be unique when it comes to posting material online. And at the same time, you need to spend time. That's the most important thing, spending time and reading books and playing around with things. It can be reverse engineering, it can be penetration testing. It's all about spending time. And yeah, that's my final words about being a good security, good penetration tester, or a good security guy, or a good hacker. If you want to be a good hacker, you need to be like that. And also, you must be updated. never give up on things. And yeah, that's all I can say for today. And thank you so much, guys, and have a good night. And cheers, guys. Bye.